It's great news, isn't it, when you think about exactly King Charles's plans. When he first started to come up with these ideas at the start of his reign, as it were, these were the ideas, of course, that our wonderful Queen Elizabeth wasn't too keen on. She believed, a little bit like her mother, Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, that actually, you should really keep your distance. That was the idea. But the bottom line is that she felt, of course, that people still respected and admired the monarchy, but at a distance. His Majesty the King has always been about it being more open, more for the public, and more importantly, that you can see exactly the good works that they do, that type of thing. So it's fascinating to see now that although His Majesty the King is currently in the throes of yet another successful tour, while he's still continuing to battle, of course, its own health crisis, it's going to be proceeding ahead with a gusto for next year. Let me explain. Hi, good morning. We'll have a lovely wave. How are you today? Thank you so much as ever for your time. And of course, we're still in this beautiful land, which you can see, which is Brighton. Look at these beautiful flower beds. Even at this time of year, this time of night, they look fabulous. I know I look like I've gone look like a Bela Lugosi film, don't I? What's happened? It's all this underlighting. You can't beat a bit of underlighting, can you? You can. Well, yes, maybe you can, who knows? Let's get back to your royal story of the day, because I think this was a good idea, because when it was first muted at the start of King Charles's reign, of course, everybody was saying it was going against exactly what the Queen wouldn't do. And we've seen many things, haven't we, recently? In particular, of course, the video from Catherine and William, which shows them in a very much more relaxed, lovable, down-to-earth sort of characters, something we wouldn't have seen during the reign of Queen Elizabeth, slightly more formal. But following the wonderful success of the recent reopening of a wing at Buckingham Palace, which sold out literally within minutes, following on from that, of course, another huge opening for Balmoral Castle. Well, His Majesty the King is now looking at extending that for further fetch next year. And this, of course, really what people don't understand, they just see the money that is, it's all for His Majesty the King. It goes back into the renovations and the upkeep of these particular individual buildings. And as you may have known earlier this year, the Royal Collection Trust, of course, launched some brand new ideas, including their renovated jams, remind you of anybody, and other things like that. Dedicated fans know, of course, His Majesty the King has even launched his own range of silk scarves. How long before Meghan Markle follows on with that? And more importantly, they had their rebranding of their wonderful Duchy jams and all that sort of stuff through the Royal Collection Trust. But what the good news is, and this is really good news, because if you are a fan of the British monarchy, I can tell you that they will be opening even longer for next year, simply because of the success of Balmoral and, of course, the new wing at Buckingham Palace. And the real idea behind this, and this is really important message in fact, is the fact that His Majesty the King really wants to make sure that you, the general public, the people that really is his boss, as it were. Importantly, of course, you get to see the good work that the royals do and the pomp and pageantry, all of the things that we thoroughly enjoy, like Trooping the Colour, etc. So if you were wondering, can you afford it, more importantly, and if you can come over here to the United Kingdom, or in fact go to the wonderful area that is Balmoral in Scotland, well, look out for details in the early part of next year. But once again, it's proven that His Majesty the King definitely has his finger on the pulse as exactly what the British public want to see. And while, of course, her late and wonderful monarch, Queen Elizabeth II, wasn't too keen on the idea, obviously time moves on, it's a brand new reign, and as we've seen, King Charles is simply doing his thing his way and proving it's a success too. Neil Sean, Brighton, in the very heart of Sussex.